Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. Among top political developments today, something that has the potential to impact the 2024 Lok Sabha campaign. ED raids are back in the news, and so is the way two opposition chief ministers have chosen to skip ED summons. Not once, but multiple times. Now, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal and Jharkhand Chief Minister Hemant Soren have refused to comply with the summons issued to them, terming them as illegal. Remember, both are under the scrutiny of investigating agencies for money laundering. Mr. Kejriwal in the alleged Delhi liquor scam case, and Mr. Soren is being probed for an alleged land scam case. Now, Mr. Kejriwal has skipped summons thrice, and Hemant Soren has skipped summons 6 times. The Aam Aadmi Party today said that the Delhi Chief Minister will not appear for ED for questioning, but he will cooperate in the investigation. GMM has meanwhile called the summons illegal, but is also preparing for the action ahead, even as today saw close aides of the Chief Minister being raided. The bottom line is simple here. Opposition parties such as Aam Aadmi Party are questioning the lack of transparency in the way ED functions, whereas the BJP has made it clear that the corrupt, by not complying with the institutions, are trying to evade their imminent arrests. Now, is this defiance by Mr. Kejriwal or Mr. Soren an act of resistance, or is it disregard for procedures? Chief Minister should be ideally respecting institutions, and in that regard, does this set a bad precedent? Should politics come in the way of crackdown on corruption? And how are smaller parties such as Aam Aadmi Party or the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha dealing with the enormity of ED raids? How has it limited their campaigns? And lastly, how will this affect the dynamics within the opposition grouping, India Alliance, and their stated ambition to take on the BJP? Those are the questions we're asking tonight, but there is an important meeting of India legislators happening in Ranchi to decide the future course of action on the political situation in Jharkhand. Let's see what that is about. So these are the legislators. There's an important meeting in Ranchi. We also have Manish, my colleague Manish Kumar, joining us from Ranchi. Manish, this is an important meeting of India allies, India legislators in Ranchi. We know that, Jharkhand, the political situation seems quite tricky, and there are already speculations about a change of guard. What is the latest on the situation in Jharkhand?
This India Alliance Legislators Party meeting is over now, and most of the legislators who came out and who spoke on camera, they said that this is something to just to analyze the prevailing political situation, and we have full faith in the leadership of Hemant Soren, and he is going to complete his tenure. And when it was asked whether his wife, Mr. Hemant Soren's wife Kalpana Soren, is going to take over, so then some legislators said that it is just a figment of imagination of some media people as well as opposition parties, but as of now there is no such scenario. But in politics, when politicians deny something, then you have to really take them seriously, because as of now it seems that JMM is somewhere working on plan B, that in case in the days to come ED seeks a warrant of arrest against Hemant Soren for not turning up on 6 consecutive summons. In that eventuality, if it is clear to them that Mr. Hemant Soren might be arrested, then Kalpana Soren might step in, and that is clear. That is why one senior Jharkhand legislator from Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, Mr. Sarfaraz Ahmed, he was he was asked to resign, and he obliged Hemant Soren also, because he knows as long as he's on the right side of the fence, or right side of Hemant Soren, then there is no question of any turbulence in his future political career. So there is a vacancy. So if Mr. Kalpana Soren is elected as the leader of Mahagathbandhan in Jharkhand, because as of now most of the allies, which is mostly Congress and RJD, they are clear that whatever cases is against Hemant Soren, and in the manner which ED is pursuing this matter now, it is politically motivated. So Hemant Soren enjoys the support of Congress as well as RJD, and they are very clear that whoever he wants to appoint, whoever he wants to nominate, it's okay with them. Vasudha.
Thank you, Manish, for joining us with those details. So by skipping ED summons, are the Chief Minister setting a bad precedent, or are they putting on an act of defiance? To discuss this, we have Reena Gupta, spokesperson Aam Aadmi Party, Charu Pragya, spokesperson BJP, Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist, and Sanjay Chadda, constitutional expert. Charu, I'd like to come to you first. Now, there are these allegations that the BJP government has weaponized ED and is using it for political gains. And if you look at the arrests and the rates, they do show a significant number of leaders from the opposition parties. How do you respond to that? And do you think the government might need to do a little more in its domain to show that, its actions are justified?
Vasudha, good evening. And you're right, the number of raids have increased, but also has the amount of money in recovery, which is running into lakhs of crores now. So one thing is very clear, the raids that ED or the CBI does now are completely justified, because when cupboards open, bundle after bundle of money falls out. Even in this case, the liquor scam, the Supreme Court has prima facie spoken about a money trail of 350 crore, which the Aam Aadmi Party has not been able to explain. In fact, the Supreme Court also said that if the entire party had been a party to this kind of planning, then make Aam Aadmi Party one of the parties in the case. I mean, I'm using party a lot, but you know what I mean. And also, if you point fingers at ED today, are you going to point fingers at the Supreme Court as well? Because the Supreme Court has not given bail. The Supreme Court has made observations which are very incriminating. The Supreme Court believes that behind bars is where you belong, because once you are out, you're going to create havoc and destroy more and more evidence, as one of the ministers was trying to do previously. Evading of questioning even is a sign of guilt, I believe. Hindi mein kahavat hai, chor ki dadi mein tinka. If you have nothing to hide, why evade? Go in for questioning. Be a lawful citizen. Well, Mr. Kejriwal used to talk a lot about corruption, about being good, lawful citizens. Now he's repeatedly evading even simple questioning, which points totally towards guilt.
Right. That's an important point that Charu Pragya is raising. Ms. Gupta, would you like to answer that? Because, Charu is saying that courts have in some ways vindicated the actions of investigating agencies. But apart from that, by skipping summons, what is the kind of signal that the party would be wanting to send across? Because there are optics to this. Is there a general sense of concern that skipping might actually impact the party's popularity?
I can't hear Reena.
Reena, we can't hear you. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So these summons are not being sent by the ED. They are being sent by the Bharatiya Janata Party. They are being written in the Bharatiya Janata Party office. In the last summon, we asked very clearly, we asked pointed questions. Is Mr. Kejriwal being called as the Chief Minister of Delhi? Is he being called as a witness? Is he being called as an accused? Is he being called as the national convener of the Aam Aadmi Party? We did not get any answers. As far as the case is concerned, there has not been a recovery of a single paisa. एक चवन्नी नहीं मिली है आज तक 1.5 साल से रेट चल रही हैं. In 1.5 years, you've not been able to recover a single penny. Where is your case? The Supreme Court very clearly said that your case will fall flat in 2 minutes. This was the observation of the Supreme Court. And the question that one needs to ask is that how is it that every time somebody joins the Bharatiya Janata Party, the ED cases just disappear into thin air. They evaporate into thin air. It is laughable that in Chhagan Bhujbal's case, the ED is saying that the files have been lost. Hemanta Vishwa Sharma, Suvendu Adhikari, there is a long list. All of these people, when was the last time they were ever called by ED? The moment they join Bharatiya Janata Party, they become absolutely clean. They get washed in the washing powder of Modi detergent and there is no case against them.
Right.
The point is that Bharatiya Janata Party is scared of facing the country in the upcoming elections. So in the parliament session, they threw all the opposition leaders out. Now they want to arrest all the opposition leaders. Why are you so scared? If you have done good work in your regime, you should be willing to face the opposition leaders in the elections.
Right.
This is not a way of putting everybody behind bars. Then you might as well not have an election in the country.
Right.
चुनाव करवाने की क्या जरूरत है? आप सारे opposition leaders को जेल के पीछे भेज दीजिए. किसी के खिलाफ कोई सबूत तो है नहीं आम आदमी पार्टी की, एक किसी नेता के खिलाफ एक किसी पैसे की रिकवरी हो, कोई सबूत हो। 1.5 साल से 1000 रेड पड़ चुकी हैं, 500 से ज्यादा विटनेसेस को इन्होंने एग्जामिन कर दिया है। वेयर इज द रिकवरी, वेयर इज द मनी, वेयर इज द मनी ट्रेल, वेयर इज द क्विड प्रो quo? There is no case. So
Charu,
now
would you
they
like to
want
respond to
arrest-
that? Because this is an important point that she's asking with regard to money. And more than that, it's also about 2024 elections are coming up. So these raids on opposition leaders, do you think that there is some amount of weaponizing that's happening?
No, I want to ask
Actually,
Charu, what happened
can I-
in Chhagan
can I-
Bhujbal's case? Chhagan
Yeah, can I
Bhujbal's case,
continue?
very simple
I heard you,
question.
Reena. I'm
How
not
do the
okay.
files get lost?
Can I
Charu, would you like to respond to that? Yes, ma'am. I'll come back to you.
Absolutely. So when Reena says that no money was recovered, Reena, now this is the modern world and you are very intelligent people. That's how you very intelligently framed a liquor policy where the commissions have gone up, where the sales have gone up, but the profit to the exchequer is in the bin. That is how you framed the policy. Now, where is all this money going? I'll tell you where the money went. This money was siphoned off and used by the friends of the Aam Aadmi Party to fund election expenditure in the state of Goa, in the state of Punjab. And these links have been established. Now, when the Supreme Court is asking you, where have the 350 crore gone? I think you must be hard of hearing to miss that question, to miss that point and not respond to that. And I think it is clear math. Sales go up, the commission goes up, but profit to the government goes down. It's simple. And if your policy was so fantastic,
Charu,
why did you take it
I
back?
understand
And if
that you're
everything
not
is
a
so
lawyer
squeaky
and you
clean,
have limited
yes,
understanding of the liquor
minute.
policy.
And Reena,
I
did
can
not
explain
interrupt
to
you.
you.
And I don't think NDTV works
You
like
don't
this.
have your facts
But,
correct.
I need you to
the
come in
revenue,
because,
the
I
revenue actually
don't
went
want to
up.
speak over
The
other
revenue to
person.
the
Okay.
government went up.
There is a RTI
Vasudha,
reply
can I
that has
respond?
been
Okay,
filed by
okay, Mr.
Lord
Tiwari,
lying
let me bring in Mr.
She's
Tiwari here.
lying. She doesn't have the facts.
Yes. Mr. Tiwari,
No, you have
so both of
filed
them
a
are making
RTI
some very
in
critical
the
points.
Government
There
revenue
has been
actually
a
went
loss of
up.
3,500
Okay, Charu, I'll come to you.
Implemented
But
in Punjab.
Mr.
The
Tiwari,
revenue to the exchequer
there is
has
a
actually
perception.
gone up.
See, both of them are making, critical points here. Mr. Tiwari, there is a perception that investigating agencies are being misused. But electorally, we've seen that the BJP only gains, from this crackdown on corruption, or what it says it is. Because, we also saw Mahadev app being talked about during Chhattisgarh elections. We saw raids happening in properties that were connected to Mr. Gehlot's son. But so clearly, electorally, the BJP seems to be in a stronger position, which means that people and the optics of this seems to be working for it, right? Mr. Tiwari.
See, what is happening is that this battle is being fought on two fronts. It's a perception battle, as you mentioned. One is the ED and the related courts, and the other is the public court. Now, both BJP as well as the opposition, BJP is trying to convince its set of voters that ED is an independent body, and all the actions it is taking is fairly independent of the government. And the party has a zero tolerance for corruption. That is the message or the narrative it is pushing to its supporters and voters. Now, the opposition, on the contrary, is trying to convince its set of voters and spread the message that ED is, all these actions of ED are some sort of a political vendetta and the ED is not acting independently.
Right.
Now, see, the electoral victories of the BJP in the Hindi heartland could give an indication that party's zero tolerance on corruption is working on the ground. However, that's not the only reason due to which the BJP has won the state elections against the Congress 3-0. So there are many other reasons for it also.
Right.
So it is very difficult to now say who is winning this perception battle ahead of the Lok Sabha elections 2024.
Right.
And the impact of the narratives or the messaging on the neutral voters who are not ideologically aligned to the BJP and neither to the opposition. I think that is going to be the key ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. Here, both the parties, however, if you see, are following a very different strategy. While AAP has said that even if Arvind Kejriwal goes to the jail, then he would function as a CM from inside the jail. While in the case of JMM, we are hearing reports that if at all such a situation arises, then the mantle would be passed on to a family member. But here as well, the element of dynastic politics will come in and BJP will get a chance to attack the opposition.
Right. So the politics of narrative management, like you say, is very important. Mr. Chadda, you're a constitutional expert. Tell us how critical is it for everyone, including opposition parties, to respect institutions? And also, what are the checks and balances by which agencies don't, politicize investigation?
Well, thank you, Vasudha. I will not be even picking a single political word in my whatever answer I'm going to give to you. Now, the most important thing is, what is the law? The law gives power to the Enforcement Directorate. It's a power of civil court. Everybody should know it. It is not a police. Supreme Court has very categorically stated. Power to issue summons. That is one. For appearance of any person. We must underline this, any person. Right? That is one. For producing any document, for producing any kind of evidence, for producing any kind of, whatever queries, summoning, for come and reply these queries. So this power is given under Section 50 of the PMLA Act. Now, second question, whether you can challenge the validity of any legal notice, any legal summon, I think as per the law, there is no provision for that. Now, we are questioning on whether you are sending this in which capacity or not. All that is yes, as per the law you can't. Now your second question was that you were saying whether this is what was the second leg of your question, please?
No, sir, I was trying to, I got the answer. You're basically saying that I was trying to ask you, what are the checks and balances for agencies
checks and balances,
to not...
very important.
Yes.
Very, very important. That is what is very important here is, in case, we are governed by within 24 hours. The law is this. Law is that within 24 hours, let's say if anybody is arrested, it has to be produced. That person has to be produced before the court, and court will decide whether there is a sufficient material or not. Yes. So this is the proposition of law. Right. Whether now the entire agency is being taken over by some government people or what, I can't say on that. Right.
So politics and law are seen as quite inseparable. We also have Dr. Tanuja Katri joining us from the JMM. Dr. Katri, so we see that the ED has refused to back out and is conducting raids on the premises of some very close associates of Hemant Soren. This is with regard to an ongoing, money laundering case. And your party has also had a meeting of legislators to decide future course of action. Are you prepared for any action against the CM? And also, this is critical because you have not just the Lok Sabha elections coming up, you also have the assembly elections next year. I mean, this year actually.
देखिए, जब से सरकार बनी है झारखंड के अंदर में, तब से ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी उसको परेशान करने की, सरकारों को गिराने की साजिश रचते रहती है। और जैसा कि हम सब जानते हैं कि भारत देश के अंदर में कयासों पर, अटकलों पर कोई जीएसटी नहीं है, तो ये एक नैरेटिव तय करते हैं कि मुख्यमंत्री हट रहे हैं, उनके जगह कोई और सीएम बनेगा। तो एक नैरेटिव सेट करने की, झूठी नैरेटिव सेट करने की कोशिश होती है, जिसको अब जनता भी समझ रही है।
राइट।
हमारा सवाल ये है।
Can I come in?
Yes, Dr. Khatri, just finish. I'll give you a minute, Pragya.
हमारा सवाल ये है कि जब माननीय मुख्यमंत्री ने ईडी का सामना किया, वो 9 घंटे उनसे पूछताछ हुई, सभी बातों को उन्होंने बताने का काम किया। कोई भी जानकारी आज सार्वजनिक जीवन में नेता छुपा करके नहीं रख सकता, वो सब जानकारी ईडी को देने का काम किया।
So Charu, would you like to respond to that? Because he's saying that, Mr. Soren has made it very clear, he's talked about his properties, so there's nothing that he's hiding.
That's his claim, but if that's the case, then why are you evading summons? I can go back and do a comparison to how this investigation has been handled by different political parties. When Modi ji was summoned, he cooperated. When Congress leader Sonia ji was summoned, the Karyakartas were on the streets, they were burning down public property. Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Soren, they choose to even evade summons. They say summons are illegal. अगर आपको कोई समस्या है, आपका नाम लीजिए, मैंने कांग्रेस का नाम लिया है, एक मिनट
Dr. Katri, let her finish.
I don't
झूठी
like
बात
being
नहीं करे ना, कम से कम बोलने
Dr.
की
Katri,
बात
let her finish.
झूठा बात
नहीं,
बोलो।
अभी तक
उनको
ये
finish
बताया
करने
कि
down in
छगन
India
भुजबल की
when
फाइल
Sonia
कैंसिल
ji
हो
was
गई।
summoned for questioning. Everybody knows that, and that's a matter of fact. It's in the public domain. You cannot deny it, and NDTV will back me on this. But the important point here is that evading ED summons is actually also an act which is completely unlawful and illegal. If you have a problem with the line of questioning, why don't you move the court? Why do you think that you can sit on a high horse and evade summons? And if questioning needs to be done again, cooperate. What example are you setting that I
हो
am
गया, आप मेरे बीच में आपने कमेंट करने की अनुमति मांगी थी, अब मुझे कंप्लीट करने दिया जाए।
Okay, Dr. Katri,
मुझे
last
complete
1 minute to
करने
you.
दिया जाए।
Last 30 seconds.
Can I get
हाँ.
10 seconds, please?
Okay.
I need 10 seconds, please.
Jharkhand, corruption case after corruption case has
Okay,
been unearthed.
last word
Why
from
have you
Reena
not
Gupta.
responded?
What is it? How is the party planning to deal with this? Because this seems to be something that's going to go on for a few months from last
Maybe
30
Reena
seconds.
will become a minister again when few more get arrested, Reena.
Can I
Best of
respond?
luck to
Charu,
you.
please keep quiet.
Yes.
Let me speak now.
Reena, yes.
Vasudha, she has not answered the question. Why is it that in the Vyapam scam, no ED raids are being conducted? In the mining scam, no ED raids are being conducted. In Chhagan Bhujbal's case, the files are getting lost. What is this? You made a mockery of the whole
Let her finish.
Reena, now
the
this
whole
is-
country is
Okay.
watching. How
Okay.
can files get
Okay, thank
lost?
you, Reena Gupta. Thank you, Charu Pragya. Thank you, Dr. Khatri. Thank you, Mr. Tiwari. And thank you, Mr. Chadda, for joining us on this show. Over to our next story, continuing with this mega South India push. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Thrissur today and he has blamed the India front for hurting religious sentiments of people and for considering temple spaces as places of revenue. Now, this was in reference to increased prices of Thrissur Puram, a temple festival that Thrissur is very well known for. Now, with the PM's visit, the party is hoping to turn its electoral fortunes in the south of India, Thrissur, which also has a large Christian population. It is part of the BJP's Kerala plans. Let me go across to my colleague Uma Sudhir for more details on this. Uma, we saw the PM going to Lakshadweep today. We saw him attend Bharatidasa Institute. Yesterday, he was there for the convocation. We saw him talk about Tamil, the legacy of Tamil as a classical language. And today he was in Thrissur, very close to Guruvayur, and he spoke about Thrissur Puram. Tell us how important is his outreach to the BJP's South India push?
So if the Bharatiya Janata Party is largely seen as a party from the north of the country, the Prime Minister's big push in the south was also an attempt to, in a sense, culturally bridge that gap between what is seen as the north and the south. And that's why, in addition to talking about the investments that they are making in physical and social infrastructure, talking about creating jobs, boosting the economy, the Prime Minister also made it a point to speak about the respect and regard that he has for Tamil culture, literature, language as well as history, and said that it's been given its due place. So while he spoke about Vikasit Bharat and youth in Tamil Nadu at the university as the engines of growth in Kerala, when he was addressing the women there, he spoke about women as that engine of growth that we require looking towards 2047. Like you rightly said, he spoke about also the Vadaganathan Koval, the temple there, which was very similar to the Varanasi Kashi Vishwanath temple, because the presiding deity there also happens to be Shiva. He spoke about Thrissur Puram, Shabarimala, the festivities that happen there, and he spoke about LDF and UDF. He said were exploiting religion for their own political ends, and he also made this allegation that the LDF and UDF are in fact two faces of the same coin. So he was in a sense attacking all those non-BJP parties, saying that in fact the LDF and the UDF were both responsible for not allowing development in the form of broad roads, rail networks or new airports to come to Kerala. He also spoke about the fact that there is corruption, the gold smuggling case. He made references to all that. So while keeping the balance of saying that the centre, the BJP is the one which is going to defeat the India alliance even in Kerala, he also spoke about development and what the BJP means in terms of improving the lives of the people, whether it was in Lakshadweep or Kerala or even Tamil Nadu. Back to you.
Right. Thank you, Ma, for joining us with those details. That is the Prime Minister with his mega South India push ahead of the 2024 Lok Sabha elections. That's all we have for you in this bulletin. Keep watching NDTV for more news and updates.